Welcome to Female Fractionals, the biweekly podcast for successful female fractional executives and those ready to take the leap. In each episode, I'll bring you actionable lessons and inspiration through interviews with thriving fractional leaders and experts. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Female Fractionals. I'm your host and fractional CMO, Amanda Nizzere. If you're driving or walking, I would suggest waiting to listen to this episode until you can have a pen and paper handy, because today we're talking tools to drive your business forward with Chris Black, fractional CMO and RevOps leader at Chris Black Consulting. Chris specializes in helping early-stage tech startups scale efficiently. With a background spanning IT, marketing, and revenue operations, she's served as a fractional CMO and marketing advisor to numerous B2B SaaS and deep tech companies. Known for aligning business and technical teams, she helps startups gain traction, generate revenue, and optimize operations for sustainable growth. During the conversation, Chris shares over 10 tools she uses to drive her brand, business, and clients' brands forward, including a specific example of how to build an AI twin to create your social media presence. Let's get into this important and very helpful discussion. Hi, Chris. Welcome to Female Fractionals. I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I like to start every episode by having everybody share a little bit about your professional background and how you got started in your field.
So I started in the field actually in IT as an early stage startup person. I came out to Silicon Valley during the dot-com era, fresh from Virginia Tech. Was an IT professional until a lot of that moved over to the marketing side with like Salesforce coming online. So all of a sudden I'm in marketing and operations for an early stage tech startup. And that continued on. But as you probably know, the tech industry is very volatile. So we lose our jobs a lot, especially in marketing. And I don't know, 8 or 9 times now that I've been laid off. And so consulting came in to just help me keep rent coming in and keeping well fed. What's transitioned now is, of course, the tech industry is in another downturn. And I'm at a senior enough level that I've turned to fractional. What I've loved about that is I can help more companies than I ever could before. And with new tech coming in, I have the time to experiment with new ideas, new technologies. And my goal is always just to go out and help. I have found Fractional just to be a great outlet for that, and a force multiplier.
You've had a very interesting journey so far. You've been in and out of consulting and fractional, and it's been very interesting. What's one surprising detour that one might not expect if they were to hear your story?
So most people who've met me for 30 seconds know me as a lone wolf. I have been in my career, married to my career. I call the separations divorce settlements because I love what I do. That's always been the first love. So during COVID, of course, for many of us, things changed. And I had someone I was dating in Ohio. So I left Silicon Valley, like the place where you were breathing tech and possibilities. And I left for Ohio. I walked away from the relationship, but not walking away from his kid. So I ended up with a teenager. So the lone wolf, no man, no kid for decades, now has a 20-year-old in college. And I've also, coming out of COVID and with AI coming onto the scene, now have my college sweetheart in my life who literally just moved in like last month. The
Oh.
first time I've lived with a man. So craziness. I know it's not fractional related, but being fractional gave me the opportunity then to spend time with a kid who needed stability, to actually get them to college, and to date someone that I loved long distance and to be able to go back and forth, help him sell a house, help him with his fractional journey. So being fractional gave me so much opportunity to revisit, to remake myself. COVID did that, AI has done that, and then just the need, right, to go fractional opened up a couple of things that I would not have been open to otherwise.
You say that AI played a role in it because AI and tech is so much a part of who you are and what you do. I said this in the intro, but if anyone is listening that's driving a car or You need to pull over and grab a pen and paper because Chris is full of a ton of information that we're going to get to around experimenting with AI and tech and different tools. It's what you do, right? So it's why I asked you to come on the pod. Every single time that I see you in one of our fractional meetings, I literally grab my pen and paper because I know that you have something new that you have experimented with, built, that is going to provide some value to me or my business. So I'd love to quickly jump in and have you share some of the top tools that you use for your business and how you are using them.
Sure, and I will try and go fast. So I hope this is being recorded and that people can go back and write this down because I talk fast. So hold on here. First is HubSpot. So any fractional, you got to get a CMS, CRM. HubSpot's free. Like, don't diss HubSpot. I'm not always the hugest fan, but it's free. We can access it. It integrates with our email. We can make it integrate with LinkedIn. We can manage our whole business. We can manage our family's businesses. It's just versatile enough, especially when we're just starting out, to just hit the ground running and have everything in one place. That's critical. Second is your thought partner, which is your LLM of choice. I'm an OpenAI girl. I kind of love Sam Altman. I hope he's not listening because that's probably embarrassing, but I love his vision. I love what he's trying to do. I do believe he's a true believer. I think he is out there like we all were in the dot-com era trying to make the world a better place. So I put my money with him. But you know what? Google is great. That's another great one. Claude, right? Any LLM of choice. And follow me on LinkedIn and find some ideas. There's other resources that I link to all the time as to how to use your LLM as a thought partner, not just writing content, but I'm using it to find my gaps, to help me think about things with my clients that I'm not thinking about, and I can do it 24/7. And it's never cranky with me. I mean, how cool is that? Vidyard. I'm enthusiastic. So that comes across on video. So I use video heavily on my website and also when I'm doing communications. I meet a client, I do a video follow-up afterwards, and I can see and stalk them appropriately as to whether or not they're watching it, how much they've watched of it, and that helps inform the next message I might. I'm using LinkedIn, obviously. That's the main part of my inbound business is I'm using LinkedIn heavily. Oh gosh, deep research. Obviously, all of these LLMs are using deep research. Notebook LM, I will throw in a new client prospect and have Notebook LM create a podcast for me. But if I need deeper research, because let's face it, I'm in tech, I don't know everything. Yeah, I pretend sometimes, but I don't know everything. And so deep research, using Storm specifically, will go into deep technology and helping me understand at a layman's level what that technology means, what it can mean for the future. So between the two of those, my research into a new prospect is incredible and it's fast. Like I'm telling you, it's like 10 minutes. And I now know more than it would take me hours to do. So if you're looking for fractional work or you're looking for full-time work, these are tactics that are just incredible. I'm going to give a quick look to my notes because I'm sure I'm missing stuff that are really, really cool. Calendaring. Oh my God, calendaring. The bane of our existence is a fractional. So I'm using Calendar Bridge across all of my clients so that my calendars within my client sites are blocked. And it just says busy, right? All the permissions are fine. Everything's great. But then I'm using Motion, which is also incredible because if I put my tasks there appropriately with the deadlines and how long I think it'll take, it tells me on my calendar what to work on next. So you and I, we're going to chat and I'm going to come out of this and go, oh my God, that was awesome. But what am I supposed to do now? And my calendar now tells me that this is the client that has the next thing that's due, that has immediacy, that I just need to get on top of. And then if I don't get it done, it pushes it to the next opening. So those are my absolute must-have, cannot do my business today without these tools.
How do you stay up to speed on the latest and greatest and have the I'll start there and then I have a follow-up.
There's lots of great resources. So I'm following Lisa Adams, Andy Crestodina, and Christopher Penn on LinkedIn. Oh my God, they're insane. They're so good. Every day, they're giving me ideas. So that's my online digital. I'm listening to the Marketing AI Institute's podcast. Every week, they have a new podcast, sometimes two. It's insane to keep up with, but they will distill all AI knowledge that's important to us on the business side. They're not digging into the nitty-gritty of how to create this stuff, but what does it mean for the rest of us? So I'm insanely grateful. In person, I join local groups. I'm here in Denver, which is beautiful, like insanely beautiful, and lots of cool tech going on. So I'm truly lucky. So the Rocky Mountain AI Interest Group is great. 250. It's intimidating. It's a big room with smart people, but I sit back and I listen. The AI, Women in Colorado AI, some combination thereof. That's a smaller group, and it's women really helping each other. And an AI Pioneers Club, that's kind of a little closed group, is great. And then an AI book club that I'm in. And that kind of helps me think with deep thinkers about this and more existentially of what does this mean. But ultimately, what we can all do, even if we live in the middle of nowhere, is to play. Like, I love to play. That's how we learn when we're kids. Like, why are we not playing anymore? And these tools are set up, they're at such a small price point that we can play. And I'll tell you, I pick the things that I hate to do. Social media. Like, if you've seen me before, you've seen me on social media, it looks like I kind of like it. I don't. This is a thing I hate. So I automate that first. I have a digital twin that's social media that actually likes social media more than I do. And it helps me get that content out in my voice. And then I look at problems that need to be solved for my clients. I do not tell them that I know everything about AI. None of us do. That would be a silly thing to say because it's too new. It's a great equalizer. None of us know everything, not even the great Christopher Penn, who I kind of think is the closest one to that. And so I'm using that to experiment. So, for example, a real example that I've published is an ROI calculator that I did for a client. 3, 4 years ago, that would have been $20,000 and 2.5 months of time and
Yeah.
agony and pain. I did that in less than 20 hours, taking my time, playing, and I threw all of that onto my LinkedIn so that others who might be intimidated at the idea of creating their own application can see just how easy it is to get that created without having to know deep code.
That was a great segue into my follow-up question was just how much time are you spending in the play phase and where do you begin? So you started out by saying, I find the things that I really don't want to be doing and I start there, which is great. So is that kind of your step one? And you
Absolutely.
literally just start playing? That's what you
I just
do?
start playing.
Okay.
And I find other people doing stuff that they've done. I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool. So another example, the AI Pioneers Club, Hi Pioneers Club, they did a bad AI art thing last week, a competition. And I'm so sad I did not win, but everyone did such neat work. But it forced us to play with these tools that are getting so good with imaging that I found that the boundaries have been extended so much from the last time that I played with it. I couldn't create truly bad art anymore. All of my tools and tricks before didn't work. I couldn't blow it up. So hats off to like Dolly. Now I'm using Photoshop and Topaz and other tools, but I used to be able to blow Dolly up pretty effectively. It's not the case anymore. And then I heard about other people and how they played and got ideas about how to do stuff. The other play that I did is I'm not very romantic, right? I never wanted to date, so I'm not a super romantic human. But for Valentine's Day, I wanted to really win Valentine's Day because, competitive. And so I created an album through play where I used ChatGPT to help me write some song lyrics from like the time that we courted in high school and college to the time that we re-met. And then I'm like, one song, that was pretty easy. I throw it into Suno. Like, holy crap, that's cool. And now I want to do more. And so I created more. I suck at this. I suck at songwriting. I can't sing a tune to save my life. And I threw it into Suno. I had a 7 song album that I then played in the car for him while he took me to this lovely dinner. And he listens to the first one. He's like, huh, that's kind of cool. I haven't heard this before. Then the second song that's personalized. By the third song, which is about he and I playing Dr. Mario for 30 freaking years now, it's a song about Dr. Mario made into a romance of our story. And he's like, what did you do? And it was all through play. Like it was fun.
You absolutely won Valentine's Day.
I
You
won
absolutely
Valentine.
won Valentine's Day. Thank you, AI. That's
Right?
incredible. But for those of us that are listening, and I mean, I've talked to you so many times before, and my mind is still blown by like you're just like throwing out the names of these different tools. Where does the confidence come in to even play? There's still something there where it feels so, I don't know if it's a vulnerability or like people will get on some of these fractional calls, and I do think that there is a level of uh accountability within the fractional community where we are holding ourselves up to a high standard to make sure that we are using the latest and greatest tools both for our own businesses and our clients. And people will show up to these calls and say, "Oh, I just built something," and "Oh, I'm doing this and that." How do you get over the hurdle of and get that confidence boost in using AI?
Well, I
Or do
lean
you just
into
jump in?
I mostly jump in because what's it going to do? Is it going to make fun of me? I mean, all of these LLMs want us to like them, so
Well,
it's
you
not going
can
to say
program it to be not so nice, but
it's hard. It's really hard.
Yes.
Uh, so for the most part, it's not going to tell you you're an idiot, which is better than our workplaces, especially women, right? When we're women in the workplace, we're used to getting kind of sidelines. We don't get the seat at the table, or we get told to take the notes or to grab the coffee, right? And even in fractional, we still have a lot of that baggage from years of having to do with this. But the LLMs are not asking us to get the coffee. So that helps. The idea of play, right? We all start games that we've never played before. It's play. It's the stakes aren't high. Now, as far as the best tools, it's just software, right? We've been using software for decades if we're at this level in our careers. It's just new software. There's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot. And if you're listening to the different tool sets, listening to Marketing AI podcasts, or you've got local people that you're leaning into, you listen to what they're doing and they'll also be supportive of you. The fractionals community is really nice, right? How cool is that? That we can go like join Fractionals United, and you have an instant group of people across the state, if not your discipline, that will encourage. And so, yeah, that ROI calculator, I used Lovable, and yeah, I was intimidated. But again, it's not going to tell me I'm an idiot. It's going to go off the rails a little. Okay, who's the idiot, it or me? Like, who's right? So
Yep.
I don't know if it's confidence as much as just get in there and play with it. And that kind of reduces the need to have it be perfect. None of this is perfect. The software is not perfect. None of the people know everything. It's too new of a technology. So there is no expert. What it really is an amplifier. Uh, so you have your idea and find a way to amplify that idea or voice. And it takes out a lot of the intimidation.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you're using AI to grow your business? We talk a little bit about how you're using it for top of the funnel and social and content. What about driving new business leads?
Well, to be honest, it's my talks, right? Because everyone is like you're saying, what do I do? There's so much. Where do I start? How do I begin? My business grows because I'm helpful, and that makes me happy. So if I can make someone's day a little better, if I can make a task a little easier, if I can throw a little confidence in there, if I can amplify a voice, all of my business is driven from my pure joy of helping others. And then someone raises their hand and goes, "Oh my God, could you help me?" Or, "Do you know someone that can?" That is 100% how my business grows. Any inbound is through my helping people on like LinkedIn or in sessions like Fractionals United or like the forum that you and I met through Chief. It is all about help. And AI can help us with that, like with things like deep research or summarization. I'll summarize meetings sometimes. I don't record them. I want the human connection, and I always feel like the recording feels funky. But for others, I'd say take the recording and throw that into like an LLM and figure out, what were the pain points, what are the things that they felt maybe discouraged by, so that I can hone in a little bit better. And it just second gives me a second pair of eyes or ears. But it's my talks, right? It's the playing that others are doing that I'm learning from, and the playing that I'm doing that I hope others can learn from, that really expand the at least the operations side of my business. So I'm doing marketing, but I'm also doing operations.
Mhm.
And then how does this grow other businesses, including my own?
Yeah. What is your favorite tool to play in right now?
It's still ChatGPT. It is my love aside from, the cute boy that just moved in with me. Uh, because I can ask it anything. I've made a social media person, I've made a digital twin, I've made content things, I've created a strategist, and all of those to be able to talk to them. I use it to give me prompts. So my Suno experiment for winning Valentine's Day kind of sucked initially, but then I went to ChatGPT and I'm like, help me with a prompt for this application. And all of a sudden magic starts to come out. I did it for Lovable, trying to create the ROI calculator of I can't quite get it right. Like, how do I prompt it correctly? And it gave me the prompt to put in. It gives me the prompt to give it for itself. Like, I can't get it to do what I want. So I go to another chat and ask it to help me with the prompt so that I can communicate more effectively. If things go sideways, I ask it, why did it go sideways and how do I fix it? Here's my thoughts, and it helps me kind of think through some of that. So it's my kind of virtual best friend right now.
So if somebody who is running a fractional business wants to create this twin and it to help them with their social media presence, right? I feel like it's the number one thing that I hear from people is that that is their biggest number one thing that they absolutely hate to do for many reasons. Could you give maybe like the first few steps that they would take in order to develop this twin to get them going?
Yeah, custom GPTs in ChatGPT are easy. They're gems. They're called different things in different tools. They all have them. So don't feel bad if I'm talking ChatGPT and you're using some other tool. But to start, there's a custom GPT-like setting, and you go and you name it, you tell it its purpose, and you say you're this, your goal is this, the kind of people you talk to is this, your tone. So you provided as much context about yourself. You throw in maybe it's transcripts or things that you've written, things that kind of make up you, and how you want to communicate and how you want to be perceived in the world, and start from there and then start to play with it and then make modifications like M dashes. Some people love the M dashes, but I have a war on M dashes, and I have a big love of Oxford commas. So those are things that I make sure that my LLM does, because if it didn't, people would be like, "Oh, that's not Crystal, that's the digital twin." Um, and I tell it to be perky. Like, I literally tell my GPT to be perky and optimistic and accessible. I hope that's me. I like to see myself that way, so I tell my digital twin to be that way. Lisa Adams, who I mentioned earlier, she's got in hers something about being like feisty or spicy, and she's got a little of her background. Like, she's very open about her personal life, so she has that fed into her personal GPT. I actually got to see that yesterday in an AI marketing forum that she did here locally. So it's about feeding our motivations into it. And then it's like, okay, you're a great social media writer, and you're trying to increase engagement, and you're going to do that through these different methods, and then load it up. So ChatGPT specifically, you can do up to 20 documents. If you're kind of famous, like you've done podcasts and stuff, like you've done stuff, you're out there, you could actually load up your transcripts. You could go to Storm, Stanford Storm, or you could go to like ChatGPT, the deep research, say, tell me everything you know about me, and throw that into there, because that's how you're perceived in the marketplace. So even that could feed and inform your LLM of choice how to write for you.
Yeah, that's great. Very, very helpful. I'm trying to think of additional tips or tricks, but I feel like you have just given pages. I even have your original list that I have from the very first call that I had with you, and I just added a new one to that based on this discussion. So thank you. I'm going to test Motion right after this call because the amount of physical paper that sits around me on this desk would make you want to scream.
Oh,
I
no, I
am
believe
I am digital,
it.
but I am also very archaic.
Well,
Uh,
let me know. Anyone that's listening, link to me on LinkedIn. I'll get you a link to Motion that gets you an extra extended trial period so that you can try it.
Great. So you've been doing this for a while. You've been playing around with these great tools, and you are such a great advocate and giver and sharer of information. If you were to look back to your first few years, or maybe even your first year, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Oh, staying the course. So raise your hand, right? What I did was raise my hand. So I didn't have to tell myself that, but I just raised my hand. I didn't know anything, but I raised my hand anyway. I started in marketing because my boss, I'm employee 13, and my boss is like, God, I have to do a trade show. I hate trade shows. Like, travel? I want to travel. Can I travel? And he's like, you're an idiot. It's yours. You're now a trade show manager. And that just opened the door to branding. I branded that company globally. I was a freaking kid who was a programmer, and all of a sudden I'm branding and I'm traveling to Germany for the first time and all of these things. I know how to do any of that. And AI is the same, right? None of us know how to do this stuff. We're just doing it. So raise your hand. Always just raise your hand. If it sounds cool, if it sounds interesting, maybe fun, you may not like everything. That's okay. But you learn and you grow, and it is actually fun if you instill kind of the idea of play into this and like, I'm going to try it. Don't know how, but I'm going to try it. And with the new tools, makes it so much easier to figure it out if we've never done it before.
It's a very fun sandbox. Very fun sandbox. Okay, I like to end every conversation with rapid fire questions, and these are meant to be answered in one word or one sentence or less. I'm so interested in your answers to these questions. Okay, so let's jump in. Best investment you've made in yourself.
College, the college education was amazing.
Favorite business book you've read.
Radical candor.
That's a good one. The last business book you've read.
Oof. I don't know what counts as business books. I'm reading a lot of AI, so Ethan Mollick's book.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, Night Owl.
I figured that one. Most unexpected skill that's helped your career.
What I learned in college was to distill big things into bite-sized chunks.
Where do you look for inspiration?
Everywhere.
Dream company headquarters location.
Ooh, Edinburgh.
Most embarrassing song on your playlist.
I'm really torn on this one, but I think I'm going to go with The Greatest American Hero.
Maybe we'll change the theme music on this episode and make it
Ooh.
make it that. Last
Yeah.
book you read for pleasure.
The Playground, which is another AI book, but fiction. Awesome. Go read it. It's so cool.
And what is your hidden talent?
Oh gosh. Um, it's called the crystal effect. Bad things, like my friends call it the crystal effect. Bad things happen. Things are always happening. And then all of a sudden it gets better. For example, the flight gets delayed or canceled. I find a flight that gets me home earlier. That is the crystal effect.
I would like a little bit of that crystal effect. That's great. Well, thank you for sharing all of this amazing knowledge with the listeners and myself, both on this podcast and in all of the groups that I find myself lucky enough to be in with you. It has been so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. I appreciate it.
As always, please remember to follow, like, comment, and share. And don't forget to head over to femalefractionals.com for a full transcript of the show and links to everything we talked about during our conversation. Thanks for listening.